Jennie Arnau's music rises and falls like the ocean tides, carries you over rivers of mud, leaving you soaked to your soul in the pouring rain. Keep listening, though, and Arnau will lead you through the storm.
The hardest rain only welcomes the spring, where flowers burst and cicadas sing. I'm a simple man of simple means. You're welcome to walk beside me. You will see the most wonderful things.
I'm David Hunt. Jennie Arnau cut her teeth as a singer-songwriter in New York's East Village in the first decade of the millennium, at a time when the city's music scene played host to an indie rock revival. She released 3 independent albums featuring her signature sound, a shot of Southern comfort tinged with an urban edge. Then, just after releasing her 3rd album, Chasing Giants, in 2009, she dropped off the radar.
What am I to do now? Just turn and walk away. Better luck next time is all you can say. Oh, better luck next time is all you can say.
Jennie Arnau is back on the music scene after a 15-year hiatus, with a new album full of new songs and new stories of love, loss, and life. I sat down with Arnau recently to talk about her new album, A Rising Tide, and to find out where she's been and how she's faring.
Better luck next time is all you can say. Oh, better luck next time is all you can say.
So is it weird doing media for a new album after a few years away?
Yeah, it's very strange. It's really fun though, because I'm coming from a completely different place. So it feels very kind of new and a little bit exciting, a little refreshing. And I feel like I can be myself more. I've changed in that way. I've grown up a bit. I'm a little more grounded. So it feels kind of nice.
Let's talk about your musical journey. You live in New York, but you grew up in the South, in Greenville, South Carolina. Was it a rhinestone cowboy sort of thing that led you to the big city?
Sort of. The one thing I remember when I was in high school was I didn't want to stay in the South for college. That was my whole thing. And I had always sung. I had always been in musical theater. I had always just kind of sung privately. And I had taken guitar from a place that's still in Greenville called the Fifth String. And I just wanted to get out of the South and be able to do somewhat what I liked to do. That was the whole goal. And so I went to Missouri to college. And then after college, I was like, I am not moving back to the South. And so I decided New York, when most of the people in my college went to LA, but there were 5 of us that came to New York. I've been writing since I was in high school, but it never was I'm going to be a singer-songwriter. Never. It was always I'm going to be in musical theater and I'll have this little thing on the side and that'll be that. And about a year into living up here, I just realized I didn't like the atmosphere of the auditioning and things like that. It was very psychological and I just wasn't, I just didn't get it and I wasn't happy with it. So I kind of laid off of everything until I moved to 11th Street about 4 years after I got here, and I got involved with the East Village music scene. And that was really fun. And that's how it kind of took off. And then I started thinking, yeah, I would really like to be a Celine Dion or something like that. But I just am not that. So, and it was really weird because I'm pretty country and pretty folk oriented, but everything in the East Village was pretty girl music or punky. And so I kind of went that way for a while, and I kind of lost my own way of speaking or my own voice. And then I slowly started to kind of find it and find a place for me to be.
And you found an audience. You found a fan base that liked the authentic Jennie Arnau.
Yeah, it was really weird because when I was trying to do all of this harder stuff, I didn't find a fan base. There weren't people who, and I kept thinking, well, I think I'm writing well, and my little core of musicians were like, yeah, you're doing great, but it didn't feel authentic. You're right. And so when I started kind of being a little truer to myself, I started with much smaller places. And then like under Acme, these little tiny places that you would go down and there would be a drip on the microphone and you'd shock your lip every time you touched the mic, that kind of thing. But it was really fun. And they were really, really supportive. And then you moved to the living room and you did the Arlene's Grocery, and they didn't care if you were punk or country and then I even did a little bit at CB's, and he didn't care at all. I mean, he was like, bring it on. And so it was really a fun time to kind of try to find where you were going to be and grab a few people who like what you're doing everywhere you went. So it was nice.
Thought I was destined for great, great things. Heavens would open and angels would sing. Princes and paupers would kiss my ring. Thought I was destined for great, great things. Now I see my life is a common one. I struggle every day with what I've done. I guess there are no guarantees. There are no guarantees. Lord, don't make no guarantees.
Early in your career, before the break that we're going to talk about, did you feel like you were chasing something? Chasing fame or chasing success?
Yeah, a little bit. Actually, a lot. And I also felt like, and this is the interesting thing of before the break to after the break, because before the break, I was chasing and I was losing, and I felt like a failure. Even though it was everything that I loved to do, it became almost a burden because I had put I feel like I had put the wrong weight on it. It should be always you do it because you love it. And if you happen to be successful, that's fantastic. But most of us don't find monetary success in music. So we have to find what makes us happy. And I just couldn't I was too either self-centered or too immature or whatever it was. But I felt like I was watching some of my friends get a lot more success. And it just made me feel like a failure.
We alluded to the break you took from music, but we haven't explained it. Life is what happens when you're busy making other plans, right? And life hit you pretty hard.
I don't think I've ever kind of talked about this, but it started off 2005 and 2006. I had a lot of friends pass away. I had a couple pass away from AIDS, and I had a couple pass away from cancer. And it was kind of not just a double whammy. It was like a quadruple whatever whammy. It was just a lot. Around that time, my mother had a fall, and it wasn't even a big deal. Dad took her to the doctor, and they said she had early dementia. So her curvature down was pretty slow at first, and everything was okay. But around 2008 or 2009, I think she died in 2014, it started to become really kind of problematic. I was very tight with my mother, and it really emptied my tank. I didn't want to really work. I didn't want to play. I didn't want to write. But, slowly but surely you start to kind of put something down like, God, I got to just put that out. And then kind of walk away. And that's how it started to kind of gear back up. But it took a long time. And I have to say, grief is weird because you don't know how you're going to maneuver through it. And I'll be the first to admit I didn't maneuver well. I didn't maneuver well through it.
You thought you could hold on one more day. You thought you could hold on one more day. You thought you were strong enough to keep love safe, but the sun's gonna set and the wind's gonna change and the child's gonna cry and your heart will break. Oh.
The distance must have made it difficult. You were in New York, your mom was in Greenville, 700 miles away.
Every time I'd go down, she'd be a little bit thinner, a little frailer. She never forgot who we were. Vascular arterial dementia is slightly different than other dementias. And she never forgot who we were, but she would forget huge things of time. And she would also just show absolutely no interest. So I remember going back and forth and coming back home and being like, she's really thin and she just seems to have given up. At one point, and it was about a year before she passed, I was talking to her on the phone and literally she was like, and couldn't, there was no words coming out. And I told Tamara, my wife, I got to go down. So I went down probably once to twice a month for that year to just kind of stay with her. That was pretty difficult. That was pretty difficult. And then we took her to the doctor and she was they were like, oh, she's got 15% of her heart is working at this point. And I was like, well, no one told me that was, that was the situation. But dementia is a tough one because not to get angry and it's not your fault, but you can't help it. You just can't help it. You want to do more. And you are angry. You can't do anything about it.
You mentioned that you were with your now wife, then girlfriend, when your mom's dementia diagnosis was made. I imagine that could have gone any number of ways. How did it go?
My wife is exceptional. And I know everyone says that about their partners. I get it. But she has the abilities to navigate situations that I personally can't navigate. She brings a lot of clarity to me because I'm a kind of emotional wreck all the time. I'm like, all the time. And so she's always like, that's okay. We'll take this step by step and we'll take this step by step and this step by step. And ever since we got together, she's been that way. I'm sure there was doubt at some point about us being together for her, but she never let it show. She always made me feel like I was very secure with this relationship. She would never let that go or let anyone hurt me or, you know what I mean? She was just, she's pretty spectacular. And I'm honestly not that way. I'm always, kind of, what's going on here? And why are we doing that? And she's always like, this is why. It's okay. You're going to be fine.
So there's a song on your new album that I think is a wedding song. I'm not sure. Heaven in Her Eyes. Does that have anything to do with your relationship?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Heaven in Her Eyes was written for her. It was written because we got engaged about 6 months after Mom passed. Mom knew Tamara. She loved Tamara. And I just thought, I wish that Mom had known that this was going to be my partner for the rest of my life. That's what I wish. Because my mother was everything, was my world when I was a kid, and Tamara has taken that place. Not as my mom, but as my partner and someone that I trust implicitly, always. And it's lovely.
With a kiss, they were on their way. Stormy weather, a beautiful day. Every drop of rain is a year with no struggle or pain. She wore a dress of lace and beads. Around her neck was a mama's school ring, and oh, how she cried as she whispered to the heavens above. Look, mama, I finally found love. I don't need to climb another mountain. Searching for some stairway to the sky. I found heaven right here on earth, mama. I found heaven in her eyes.
You're listening to Tell Me, David, Queer Stories Past and Present. I'm David Hunt, continuing my conversation with singer-songwriter Jennie Arnau. So let's talk about digging your way out of that dark place that you were in, and the part that music writing and performing played in that.
Well, writing definitely played a lot. Because when I started to come up for air, I didn't know exactly what air I was coming up to and what I was going to do and how I was going to sound and what it was going to be. And I started writing. Heaven in Her Eyes was one of the first ones that I wrote, and I liked it. And Back to Carolina, I kind of wrote because I was split and I didn't know what I was quite doing. I knew I didn't want to live in Carolina, but I also knew I should be there. You know, my family, my father and my brother took on a lot with my mom, a lot. And though I was going in and out, I didn't feel like I took on as much. And I didn't, to be fair. So Back to Carolina, I wrote because of that. And then I wrote Heaven in Her Eyes. And I kind of liked them both. I was like, I like these songs. I think they sound good. But I just kind of played them for myself and whatever. And I wrote a couple of more. And then I sent them off to my 2 music buddies just to say, hey, I'm writing again. What do you guys think? I'm kind of liking it. It's starting to make me feel better and I'm starting to want to do it more. So if you guys don't like it, I get it, but let's see what we can, what you guys think. And my friend Pete, who plays the keyboards on this record, he's like, you got to record. Like, these are great. You got to do it. And then Alan, who's my drummer, he was like, yep, let's get in. And so I started writing a little bit more, and then we started thinking about recording it. And every time I wrote another song, it just felt a little lighter. It felt better and better. And like, I was like, wow, I think I can even write. I'm writing a little bit better because I understand myself a little bit more. I've gone through a lot and I understand what I'm trying to say a little bit better.
When I listen to your new album, A Rising Tide, I can almost hear you working through the stages of grief, song by song, line by line. In the first song, Oceans Rise, you sing, every time I turn this wreck around, the oceans rise up and drag me back down, which is so evocative of what you were going through at that stage where your mom was getting worse with dementia. Were you writing songs while your mom was sick, or did that happen afterwards?
I was writing lyrics while my mother was sick, and they were disjointed. So I would think of something like that, and I would just write it down and kind of leave it aside. But I always try to kind of write if something comes to me, I'll just stop on the street and tap it into my phone so I have it. And I've always done that. So I feel like I probably wouldn't be able to function if I didn't get some of this stuff at least away from my head, because I'll think on it. I'm one of those that chews on a information forever. I just, yum, yum, yum.
You say you got scars I can't see. They hold you at night, whisper lies about me. I kick and I scream and I lick my wounds. I feign forgiveness while black roses bloom. You laugh when I jump and skip like a stone, but if you ain't scared to, why do you run home? Gone home now, boy.
Then on the second song on the album, Countryman, you talk about it's time to jump in that spring, let the water steal my heart and wash me clean. So that's a little more hopeful. There's a water motif going on still, but now it's not dragging you down, but washing you clean. So were you beginning to see a glimmer of something on the other side at that point?
Yeah, it's funny because that one was also written. I mean, Tamara was very much around, and I think every so often, because I can get pretty kind of down in the dumps, and every so often she'll be like, "Come on, it's honestly, it's just not that bad. You have to see that, the sun rises every day, and you can still sing and play guitar, and we can still go apple picking or whatever it is." And I think that sometimes, especially when I'm really kind of drowning in it, it's good to come up for air. And I think that's where that came from. It's like, I'm having a rough time, but over there's just a little kind of light there. And it also talks about leaving the town, and that whenever I go to Greenville, and it's still because of the history of it with me, it feels heavy. It feels heavy. And so when I get to move away from it a little bit, it's good.
I have been a coward far too long. Scared of the sunset, scared of the dawn. But my heart needs a break, a weekend or a holiday, to travel this great land with a countryman.
What do you think makes a Jennie Arnau song a Jennie Arnau song? What's your secret sauce?
I think my influences add a little to the secret sauce. Like, I was in the South and really into people like John Denver and James Taylor and Carly Simon and Carole King and Cat Stevens. And they were all kind of this acoustic, poetic line drive. And so I feel like my writing has gotten more and more towards that kind of real just acoustic songwriter with a little bit of that old school influence, because I can't get away from, I didn't grow up during Ariana Grande and and they're great. I mean, I kind of wish I did. Those pop songs are amazing, but they're just not what I grew up with. And I think that I got influenced a lot more than I realized it.
I see you in everything I'm praying to God you let me in again, so close but so far. When trouble comes calling, when trouble comes, when trouble comes, it's one if by land, two if by sea. Give me a chance, I wanna be the one to save you, save you, save you. It's one if by land, two if by sea. Show me a sign, please let me be the one to save you, save you, save you.
What does the future hold? What are your plans?
I want to really play more, write more, and just really enjoy it as much as I can. I don't need to be, making a lot of money. I don't need to, none of that. That's gone. That's not my place anymore. My place is to have fun, get out as much as I can, write as much as I can, hear what people have to say. Hopefully they'll like what I'm doing. Like literally that's my whole, that's what I want for my future.
I have found my reason on an old and forgotten road, where shoes know no pavement, pockets don't long for gold. Going back to Carolina, I've been gone too long. Tried my best to love this place, but it just ain't my home.
Find Jennie Arnau's new album, A Rising Tide, on your favorite streaming platform, or visit JennieArnauMusic.com, JennieArnau music.com. I'd like to thank Jennie Arnau for sharing her story and her music for this program. For Tell Me David, I'm David Hunt.